everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. Today I'm gonna start my social sessions videos. You could all send in some questions through social media and literally ask me anything, which you all did. Thank you for support and sending in all kind of different questions on different subjects. I'm gonna answer them all in these social sessions, but as there were a lot of questions, I will divide them in different subjects and make different episodes out of it, which all has a common theme. And I have divided all your questions into those themes. And today we're gonna start with the first theme, which is actually how it all began, because many of the questions I got through Facebook and Instagram are actually a lot the same, because many of you are wondering in how I start crocheting, how the whole journey started, how I learned to crochet and knit. So I'm gonna read out some questions I've got from you, and basically they're all asking the same thing. So I'm gonna name the questions, and after that I'm gonna tell the story how this whole thing started by making things like that. So the first one is Vicky asking me, how did you first get into crochet and designing, which is something I'm gonna tell you, of course. Secondly, we have Catherine, who taught you to crochet and knit? Did you watch your grandmother or mother? And did they crochet and knit as well? Well, that's something I'm definitely gonna tell to you. Another one from Vicky is, what was the first thing you've made? Which is probably the thing I'll end up with, because that's also part of the whole process. Mike's Creatieve Wereld also asked a question. He's a Dutch YouTuber as well, who was asking, how did you start crocheting, knitting? Well, it's the base question of this whole episode. And then we have D, how were you inspired to crochet and share your patterns? Well, this is a question which I left over to the end of this video, because that's where it ends for now. But let's first start with how did I begin crocheting, knitting, whatsoever. Well, I can tell around the age of 18, I think. It's long ago, probably about almost 20 years ago. I got sick, pretty sick, and I was not able to do anything for months. So once I was recovering a little, it took me a lot of effort to get back in a good health and in a body where I could do whatever I wanted to do once again, to have my energy back. So during that period of recovery, I searched for things to do, just to get off my mind and to be, well, occupied at something. And probably, well, I first tried all the things anyone does, like watching TV, reading a book, watching a newspaper, name it. But you also get to a point where nothing really is interesting you anymore, because you have done so many things already. At that time I still lived at my parents' place, so I watched my mom every day doing her thing, and what she mostly did was knitting. So one day she was knitting some socks, and I was watching it, and I thought, well, I've done everything I could so far and I'm bored, so give me a pair of needles and a ball of yarn and teach me. Well, and that's where it all started. And it was a hard thing to do, probably because she is right-handed and I'm left-handed, which makes it really hard to teach someone to knit or crochet at all. And she learned me pretty good, because after about 2 weeks I had my first sock ready, and although it was horrible because it was full of stitches that are literally gliding off the hook of the needle, and it was really, they even could not be weared, because if I would wear them they probably would be full of little holes in a week or something. It was really nothing like it should be like, but it really didn't matter, because I felt okay, fine, it was my first pair, and everything you need to learn is something that is that needs development, and the same for this. So from that point I really started knitting socks more and more, and I got more confident in knitting, and from that thing I started knitting other patterns and more stitches, and claim knowledge on knitting. So the first 3-4 years I probably only knitted things because I didn't actually know what crochet was. But one day I was walking through, we call it Spakenburg here, it's a little fisher's town, and I was watching, we went by a store which had a wooden bench outside in front of the store, and there was a pillow on it made out of granny squares, and it was really interesting to me, and so I just watched and asked my mother, like, is this self-made, or is it just something, a fabric, or what is it? Well, and she directly told me it was made with crochet stitches, and she said, oh, I can also crochet. But so from that moment I felt like, okay, I need to learn this as well. But learning it from my mother was really hard, because I really couldn't understand stitches from a right-handed person in a mirror view to my left-handed position. So but at that time YouTube wasn't as big as it is now, so there were a few videos on how to do a crochet stitch, and although it helped me a lot, I just learned it. I opened a very simple basic book, How to Crochet for Dummies, and that from that thing I learned to crochet myself. And the fun thing is, like, I actually, I think it has almost spent 2 years before I really could learn to crochet all the basic stitches, and after that I realized I made every stitch I did, I used an extra loop to work away. So in the end I also discovered after 2 years every stitch I made in every pattern was not the right one and not done in the right way. So I have to relearn everything after that moment as well. So probably 3-4 years later I finally could crochet, and I really started out with making some amigurumi, some little toys, really basic stuff, a little square, grannies, the more basic stuff. And I never could have imagined like I was designing something in this whole thing. I just spent years crocheting and knitting along patterns, and just as an interest, a creative interest besides your social and daily life. And over the years I crocheted along many patterns, and I noticed my skill level became higher, better, and things got more boring for my opinion to do it although I still love to craft a little, I felt like I needed more output, like I need more advantage work, and there was not that much around at that time, and there were a few designers who already did it, but well, at the moment I came to a moment where I couldn't find anything interesting anymore, and that was the moment where I thought like, well, I have crocheted for so long now. Isn't there a way like I can do something myself? Like, is it that hard? And so it was around summer 2018, and I just grabbed some balls of cotton and a crochet hook, went outside, sitting in the sun, had a little notebook besides me, and well, just started like, let's see where it will go. And from that moment, and I realized at that moment that it wasn't that easy to design at all, because there are so many things coming together in a crochet pattern. It has to be right on many levels. It's something I'm definitely gonna talk more about in a designing episode, but in the end I felt like, after about retrying 20 times, once again I had a few rounds together, and I felt, yeah, this is pretty good. Like, this is even better than crocheting a pattern that is already out there. So from that moment I moved on and worked further and further, and at a moment I came to the realization that I had a pattern ready, like well, ready. It was crocheted. It still had to be written and photographed, and what all comes with designing, which I all will tell in later episodes, but it was there, and I was actually pretty happy with the end result. And so I thought, well, I'm gonna put it out there, like, let's see what people find about it. And well, people became well, hysterical, I don't want to say, but people were really cheerful about it, and asked, where can I get a pattern, and where is it, and I don't want to make it as well. And well, okay, well, I can see if I can write it down, and that's where the whole journey started about designing crochet patterns in the end. And once you are in that vibe, it's just going, like, don't think and just do whatever feels right. And well, that's where the whole design part started, and all thanks to learning to knit socks about 10 years earlier in a period of sickness. And by the way, I totally recovered from that, but once recovered I just continued on crafting and knitting and crocheting, and well, here I am today, almost 2 crochet books ready, a YouTube channel. Yeah, it's really fun, and I never could have imagined it would end up here, but well, it seems you all like what I do, so I just continue on. And if there is a moment when you all tell me like, okay, now it's done, cut the crap, fine, that's also fine. Then I just go back to the first thing I did, which is crocheting, maybe for my own, but it never is something I will give up, because I feel it is the right thing to do. It gives me the feeling I want to have, and it is really fun to see how everyone is so positive and really likes what I do. So that's where my whole journey started in the end, and I will see if I have answered all your questions with this. So Dee asked me, how were you inspired to crochet and share your pattern? Well, as told, I had a little Instagram account, about 50 followers, and I just dropped down an image of what I designed and crocheted for the first time, and well, it went massively. Like many companies came out of there, it was tagged and shared, and I really didn't know what was happening, like but I really had the idea, like, okay, it's people like what I do, so that's where it all started. And that was also the moment where I had the idea, okay, it seems I have to share something here, like people want it. So that's your question. Well, Mike's creatieve wereld. How did you start crochet knitting? I just told. Vicky, what was the first thing you've made? Well, like I told, a pair of socks full of holes. Like, I really don't have them anymore because you couldn't wear them, but I've made hundreds of socks after it. These days I don't knit that much anymore because it delivers a lot of aches in my shoulders and neck, which crochet doesn't do it that much. But the first thing I made were a pair of socks, and later on, when it comes to designing, the Lotus and Blossom mandala was my first design, actually. Then we had Catherine, like, who taught you to crochet and knit? Did you watch your grandmother or mother, and did they also crochet or knit? Well, as told, my mother teach me how to crochet, to knit, and well, she does knit as well. She also crochets, but she didn't teach me to crochet. I learned that myself. And my grandmother also knits, which is, she's also still alive, and well, sometimes there is a moment we all come together and just knit or crochet along, and she is really proud on the achievement of having a crochet book. And although she can't crochet, she still loves it to have the book and just look into it, read stories, and that's a really proud feeling at all. Then we have another Vicky. How did you first get into crochet and designing? Well, just as told, I got at a moment being bored, like, okay, I've crocheted everything now, so why not start something yourself? And well, that was the first moment I came to, why not design something for yourself? And that were all the questions for this topic at all. So this is the first episode of my social sessions. Well, in the beginning, how it all started. And from this point, I'm gonna make some more episodes with different topics, and you will see they all connect together a little. Like we will have episodes about designing, about inspiration, about color use, tips and tricks, all kinds of subjects like you want to know, you have asked me questions about, and I will all try to answer it. So hope to see you in the next episode, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.